here are the 10 most commonly used verbs in French. Knowing these 10 verbs, at least you can start your conversation in French. So the first one is être, which means to be. We said être. There is a sound k at the end. Être, to be. The second one is avoir. Avoir, to have. Watching this video with an intention to learn it, so say it with me. Avoir. The third one is aller, which means to go. Aller, say it with me. Aller. The fourth one is pouvoir, which means to be able to. Pouvoir. Pouvoir. The fifth one is similar to pouvoir, that is vouloir, which means to want. Vouloir. The sixth one is faire. Faire, which means to do. Seventh is parler. Parler, which means to speak. In my next videos, in the upcoming videos, I'll also share with you guys the syllables, the pronunciation of syllables. We have the eighth one, demander, which means to ask. Demander. There are 3 syllables. Demander, to ask. Ninth one is savoir, which means to know. Savoir. The 10th one is venir, to come. Venir. Venir. Okay, so that's it for the 10 verbs. Now we will see the conjugations. Those of you who don't know the meaning of conjugations, it's like when I want to use the verb with me. Just for example, I want to say I am happy, I am sad. So how will I use this verb? So let's see the conjugations of être. Okay, so for I am, we say je suis. As you all know that in French, we don't pronounce the last alphabet. So we don't say je suis, we say je suis. And if you want to say you are happy, you will say tu es. This you is for the informal one. So you will say tu es. For those of you watching the video, I would also recommend that you should write down these conjugations along with me so that you learn the spellings also. So for the informal you, we will say tu es. For he or she, we will say tu es. Yes, there is a T at the end, but we pronounce it similar to what we used with tu. Tu es, and also il, elle, est. Yeah, I know French is sometimes confusing. The pronunciation makes it confusing, yeah? Okay, so for we are, we will say nous sommes. Again, omit the last alphabet S and say nous sommes. For formal you, we will use vous, and along with you, sorry, I made a mistake. With you, formal, we will say vous êtes. Yeah, I know you must be confused. Why do we say vous êtes and not vous êtes? There is a liaison. So if you want to know about it, you can comment down below. I'll tell you about the liaison. Okay, so for a group of he, for a group of he, I mean, if you want to say they are, so we will say ils sont. And if we want to say for a group of she, that means they are, elles sont. Okay. Ils sont and elles sont. The next verb we have is avoir, which means to have. So let's look on to the conjugations of avoir. The first one, if I want to say I have, I will simply say j'ai. Yeah, I know it's very simple, no? You don't have to pronounce the AI, you just have to say j'ai. If you want to say you have for the informal one, you will say tu as. Yes, omit the S at the end, say tu as. If you want to say he has or she has, you can say il a or elle a. If you want to say we have, you can say Nous avons, again the liaison of S. Nous avons. If you want to say you formal, have, you have. Vous avez, vous avez. If you want to say they have for a group of he or for a group of she, we will say ils ont, elles ont. Okay, so the third verb is aller, which means to go. Aller. So if I want to say I go or I am going, that is the same in French. So I will say je vais. Je vais. If you want to say you go, tu vas. Tu vas. If you want to say he go, we will say il va. And if she go, elle va. If you want to say we go, nous allons. Again, there is a liaison, I know. Nous allons. S combines with A and it gives you the sound nous allons. If you want to say you go for the formal one, vous allez. If you want to say they go, ils vont or elles vont. Okay. The fourth one is pouvoir, which means to be able to. Say it again with me. Pouvoir. Pouvoir. So if I want to say I can, I will say je peux. Je peux. Omit the X at the end. If you want to say you can, tu peux. For he can or she can, we will say il peut or elle peut. If you want to say we can, nous pouvons. Nous pouvons. If you want to say you can, for the formal one, vous pouvez. Vous pouvez. For they can, for the he part, we will say ils peuvent. ENT is silent, ils peuvent. And for a group of girls, we will say elles peuvent. Okay? Elles peuvent. The fifth one we have is similar to pouvoir, just the starting sound is different. Vouloir, which means to want. If I want to say I want, je veux. And if you want to say you want, tu veux. Similarly, omit the X at the end. He want, il veut. She want, elle veut. We want, we will say nous voulons. Nous voulons. You want, for the formal one, vous voulez. Ils veulent and elles veulent. If you want to say they want. Again, the ENT was silent. Okay, so the sixth verb is faire, which means to do. This is a very common verb in French and we use it in almost every other sentence. So for I do, we say je fais. Je fais. For you do, tu fais. For he do or she do, we say il fait or elle fait. For we do, we say nous faisons. Yeah, this is a little bit different. Nous faisons. And for you do, for the formal part, we will say vous faisiez. We don't pronounce actually the I, we just say vous faisiez. For they do, ils font and elles font. Okay, so the next verb is the seventh one, parler. Why am I taking too long to write it, Parler, which means to speak. This is also a very common word. Yeah. So if I want to say I speak, that means we will say je parle. Je parle. If you want to say you speak, you will say tu parles. Same pronunciation as in I. Je parle, tu parles. Very confusing, So that's why I'm saying write it with me. If you want to say he speak or she speak, il parle, elle parle. We speak, nous parlons. You speak, vous parlez. And if you want to say they speak, ils parlent. Again, ENT silent. And for a group of she, we will say elles parlent. The eighth one we have is demander, which means to ask. Demander, to ask. So if I want to say I ask for something, I will say je demande. If you want to say you ask, tu demandes. If I want to say he demands or she demands, I will say il demande or elle demande. If we want to say we demand, nous demandons. Up till now, you must have observed the endings. Nous demandons, for you, we will say vous demandez. For they want, we will say ils demandent. Again, you have ENT silent, il demande or elle demande. The ninth one is savoir. Savoir, which means to know. Oops, I made a mistake. It's not used for to ask. Corrected, guys. It's savoir is used for to know. If I want to say I know, I will say je sais. If I want to say you know, I will say tu sais. He knows or she knows, il sait and elle sait. In all these three, the difference is just of S and T, but the pronunciation is the same. If you want to say we know, nous savons, you know, vous savez, and they know, ils savent or elles savent, ENT silent. Ils savent or elles savent. The last one we have is venir, which means to come. Again, a very, very important verb, very common. So if I want to say I come, je viens. Listen to the pronunciation very carefully. Je viens, tu viens, il vient, elle vient. And if you want to say we come, nous venons, you come, vous venez, and for they come, ils viennent. Look at the spelling very carefully. Ils viennent, ENT silent, and elles viennent. Okay guys, so this video I made with a pen and paper so that you can see the spellings and practice with me. And if you want to see my face and how the movement of mouth looks when I speak these verbs, so tell me, I will make a video of that. See what I'm doing when I was making this video, the video part. I was also writing this and making the flat thumb. Please don't do this, and give me a big fat thumbs up when you watch the video. Subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching. If you want to have other suggestions, you can give it to me. I can make it for you in French. See you soon, guys. Bye bye.